Okay, let's play myself a little more increment. I'll play a 10-15 game. 10-15 game on Lee chess. Ooh, I could play a 5-8. Now it's hard to talk on a 5-8. I like these 10-minute games with either 10 or 15-second increments. Gives me time to talk out my thoughts. Here's a 15-5. Let's go 15-5. Okay, playing is black. Play the Sicilian. Okay, so I know a couple moves. You can play d6, knight c6, and fianchetto the bishop. My usual line is c5, knight c6, takes, knight knight f6. He plays knight c3. Oh no, he doesn't. He takes. I think that could actually be a mistake. I usually capture toward the center, and here actually I never really looked into this, but I think the theory might be to capture away from the center, and then I never really understood why that would be because he takes your queen and then you lose your right to castle after you recapture. So I always capture toward the center. Um, Maybe that is theoretically sound. I'm not sure, but I kind of had this thought that people usually capture away from the center on that move. Maybe I'm totally wrong. That's definitely possible. Okay, now one thing I noticed, since he doesn't have his d pawn anymore, and I don't think his e pawn is going to be advancing anytime soon. I can think about fianchettoing my bishop, which would lead me not to play e5. Not to play e5. Uh, if he hadn't moved this knight here, I would have had that trick. Let's say he advances his pawn to kick my knight. I can always play queen a5 check and scoop up the pawn, but he didn't do that. So I'm just gonna keep developing normally. I think I will. Maybe I'll play e6. I know. Yeah. I don't know if I want to fianchetto my bishop or not. You know, I'll play d5. I was thinking about playing d5, and if he advances to kick my knight, then I'll play knight d7. Is that okay? Maybe that is okay. Moving my knight twice, but his e-pawn will be really far extended, and I have a huge center, huge pawn center. Okay, so now he's defending this pawn twice, but if I move my queen out to pin his knight, an early queen move, I know. What am I thinking here? I see a couple continuations in my mind. If I play queen out to a5 and he moves his bishop to interpose, like between bishop to d2, then I drop my queen back to b6, targeting this weak pawn, and he can either move his rook over to b1 to guard it, or maybe he will actually play b3, in which case this long diagonal, dark square diagonal, will be wide open, and I can fianchetto my bishop. The other thing is if I go out and play queen a5, he could just castle, in which case I wouldn't have been doing anything there, so it's not really worth it. I guess e5 might just be my best bet. If he ever takes, and I take again, and I have a huge pawn center. To take is a mistake. I know, it usually is, so I'm not going to. If he takes, I think that would kind of be a mistake, because I build up a big center, and he loses both of his center pawns. His d1's already gone, and his e pawn would be next. So now I have a really big center, quite big. My bishops can develop freely. I'm not going to fianchetto my bishop. So he castles. Okay, stuff that I can consider. Number one, if I want to develop my dark square bishop out so that I can castle, where would I go? I guess I want to keep it kind of in my camp. Maybe just bishop e7. Because I'm going to be attacking on the king side, I think. I have a lot of space in the center. What's the strategy there? I don't know. A lot of space in the center. So maybe bishop e7, castles, Yeah, that'll my dark square and light square bishop be controlling a lot of squares over here. He'll have to focus on a queenside attack or something. Yeah, that's what I'll do. His knight can't commit. My c6 pawn is doing a good job controlling the b5 square against his knight, and that means his bishop can't come in and check me this whole time while I still haven't castled. So that's nice. I could move my rook over to b8 on this open line, which would which is just like what I was saying, threatening that b2 pawn. He can advance it, but then his dark diagonal is pretty weak, and I can try right now actually to get him to exchange this dark square bishop. Things like h3, and I don't know if I really want to exchange it. I could just move my knight and force one. Is there a reason that I shouldn't move my rook to b8 and attack that pawn? It can be defended pretty easily, but I am working on a half-open file. It leaves my a7 pawn undefended. I don't know if that's so bad. Yeah, my light square bishop out to g4 could also attack his queen at some point. I'm just going to get castled, I think. I'm pretty sure that can't be wrong. Yeah, I think I want to... Oh, so he's just getting rid of his bishop. So why? Maybe he was thinking that he could go win this pawn now, but he's only attacking it twice, and I'm defending it twice. Once with my c pawn and once with my queen. I'm not sure about that. He gave up the bishop pair. Okay, what is he thinking here? What is he trying to do? Not quite sure. So maybe now I start. Like I move my rook. I think I gotta make kind of slow developing moves here. I could kick his queen. Kick his queen with g6, so it would be like I had fianchettoed the whole time. I think that would be a change in pawn structure. Something you'd call like it would dramatically change it. Okay, so I'm just gonna see what he does. There's tension on this. You know what? Okay, that's it. So there's tension on this d pawn. So I'm just gonna overprotect it. I think. I don't think that can be wrong. Like that bishop wasn't doing anything, and I have to develop it. I don't want to develop it to b7 just because I mean it's less activity. Oh. Oh, okay. So I can just capture with my pawn now, right? He'll have a huge pawn majority on the queen side. If I capture it, but I don't want to give up my two bishops. I'm just gonna do this and have a big pawn center. Huge kings. So I think this definitely means I need to attack on the king side because he can start advancing his. Oh my! That was awesome. I was just totally not even thinking that. Like, why is his queen there? Oh my god. Alright, well, I guess my channel needs some videos like this. Let me see this. How long is even... Oh my god. Alright, that is checkmate, no doubt. He says GG. I say GG. Let's rematch. Oh my god. That was poor. That was a poor showing. Wow. Can't say I've never been caught in a easy mate like that. I'm living up to my YouTube name, I guess. Blunder's mate. I just blundered mate. Blundered that mate pretty good. Unbelievable. Okay. Let's try to get our heads back in it. So he's playing Sicilian here. I usually do just try to play d4 and open it up, recapture with my knight, play knight out to c3, and yeah, let's do it. Maybe I can salvage some dignity here. Probably not. Salvaging dignity, what does that mean? It means I had some to begin with. You know, it's funny, I was just actually thinking that I've uploaded 3 videos so far, and all 3 videos I've won games. So I was like, I don't know, maybe people are starting to expect that I just win games all the time. But I put that suspicion to rest. I definitely don't win all the time. Oh man. Okay. Uh, I can defend this a couple ways. Defend it with d3, and by it I mean my e4 pawn. I can defend my pawn with d3 or with knight c3. I don't want to move my bishop yet because when he moves his uh, d pawn, I might just develop bishop with check. Either pin his knight or maybe some stuff with the bishop. So I'm going to develop my knight. Knights before bishops, as they say. I don't know if this is the right call, but maybe I can't really make that big of a mistake this early. Dark square bishop, he can be developed out to pin the knight to the queen, but then that just gives him an excuse to develop his dark square bishop to e7 and break the pin. So if I advance, that would be kind of like French defense advanced variation territory. But if I advance, then since his c pawn is already advanced, he can take my d pawn, and then my e pawn is just out there with no defenders besides my knight. But there's no pawn defending it. I would be led to play like f4 or something later in the game. So as far as I can tell, once I develop with check, and he moves out, if I take and then he takes back, I'm actually ready to castle. I'm actually ready to castle, and then the center would be opening up, which would be kind of a good thing. Like if I take, I could even force him to capture now. I take, he takes, bishop to b5 check. He would respond some way with his knight or with his bishop coming in. Then I could just castle. Let's do that. To take is a mistake, I know, but maybe this is a mistake. But sometimes you gotta take. Sometimes you gotta take. So do I just go along with my plan? Bishop develops with check. My d pawn is got like he'll take and he'll end up with an isolated queen pawn, which could be a target later on. Okay, so I actually don't need to take that bishop. I can just castle first. I don't need to take it because my knight is defending it, and he can't kick that knight. Like if he takes c takes d, I can take with my knight. Okay, so I will take that. If he kicks me, I'll just go right back. I could interpose a check, get my rook out of harm's way. Then his dark square bishop could be pinned to his king for a second. Yeah, okay, I'll just take it. Yep, my knight can come right back. Sicilian is such a theoretical line, but I don't know any theory, and I usually I try to just grind my games down to like the least sharp lines, the dullest lines you can think of. I try to at least. Sometimes my wacky play just gets in the way of that. Okay, so things I notice right now. The tension between these two pawns is, I mean, it remains unresolved now. I don't want to take it because he can just develop his dark square bishop to it. So this is what I was about to start saying. He has a lot of space on the queen side, so starting to advance with his pawns makes sense. I think. I mean, yeah. I think my plans or like some things I'm considering right now are I could just take this pawn, get his bishop out, and then put him in check. So he would probably end up moving his bishop twice. Like he would come out and take it, and then put it back on e7, where it just was, it would saddle him with an isolated queen pawn. I would be attacking it twice after that, so there would be tension on it. My queen and knight would be ganging up on it. Other things I'm considering, I can play my bishop out and pin his knight. In that case, if he does move his bishop to defend, I can always pin his bishop. But I guess then he could just castle and unpin. Since after he moves his bishop, he's one move away from castling, I think I'm going to go ahead and take this pawn, leave him with the isolated queen pawn in the center of the board. Rook to e1 check. And after he blocks with his bishop, there's some further attacking moves I can make. I got to develop my dark square bishop out. Maybe a good square would be f4. f4 maybe. Yeah, because I'm not going out. If I go out there, I'm not going to take his knight. If I go out to g5, I'm not going to take his knight because his bishop will be there to recapture. But then again, maybe that would win me this pawn actually. Right now there's tension on it, and if I can remove one of the is it worth it to give up my dark square bishop just to get that pawn? Maybe it is. So what's the move order here? If I put him in check first, if I move rook e1 check, he drops it back to bishop e7, and I go bishop g5. Can he move his knight to attack me anywhere? I don't think so. Let's go this. So the purpose of this move is to get his bishop to a less active square. Like drop him back to e7. So that comes with tempo, obviously, because it's check. I move my bishop out to g5, hitting on one of the defenders of this d4 pawn that I mentioned could end up being a target. He has his knight can't come in to defend it in one move. Yeah, so I'm thinking this is my plan now. His knight still has yet to develop, which is why my knights right now are controlling a lot. Okay, so so I guess he wouldn't blunder the pawn there because he would end up winning my b7. I take, he takes with his bishop. I guess queen takes, knight takes. At the end of that, my b2 pawn is hanging. But I have time, don't I? What if I play rook b1 right now? If I play rook b1 right now, he can't get there in time to defend this pawn. I play rook b1. What's his move? Knight out, maybe. That's almost certainly his move. Maybe a good move for him. Yeah, knight out. In that case, I'm still attacking that pawn. Okay. Right now, with rook b1, that's preparing bishop takes knight on f6. He probably sees this. What could he do? He could come out and... What? So he's just ignoring the threat, I suppose. You know what? Even if I could actually do like that. I could take the pawn with my knight. He takes with his knight. And I'm threatening, like if I just take his bishop, I'm attacking his bishop twice. So he can't really recapture that. I think this is just tactically not sound for him. And yeah, like even with he can't just let my knight sit there because I'm attacking his bishop with check twice because my rook on that file. Oh, I see. Because I didn't think of this. His knight is actually guarding his bishop. Wow, I'm just like, I'm not playing well right now. All right, well, let's see what he does. If he recaptures there, then I can always at least take his queen, then take his knight with my rook. It was such a roller coaster of emotions. All right, now I got my rook on the 7th rank. Uh, I'm kind of thinking like I don't need to put my rook back on the second rank if I drop him back because my knight is guarding that square where his rook would come in. His knight can't really go many places usefully, so I'm just gonna drop my rook back all the way to the first rank. I think. What's better than that? If I go and try to hit his b pawn, he can just advance one space. So I mean, his knight's defending it already, but if he advances, then he can feel free to move his knight. So it's not a problem. Yeah, but I don't know. When it comes down to being rooks, you want your rooks to be really active. If I move him to a dark square, that means he can't be attacked by Black's knight on the next move. So Black's jumping to a dark square. It means he will be attacking only light squares. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna go back. Uh, Plans here? I don't really know. I mean, his pawn is pretty far out. Can I capitalize on that somehow? His knight is undefended. Oh, he wants to just trade down even though I'm up a pawn, I guess. I figure I'm happy to do that. Then I'll put my rook on the 7th. Rook on the 7th, and if he goes... sorry, I'm starting to move too fast, and this is the trap I fall into. I want to put my... you know what? I actually just want to trade more, don't I? He still has back rake issues, so if I... like if I play rook to d1, rook b to d1, if he takes, I take. That's a good trade. He needs to keep his rook on the back rank, or else he'll be back rank mated. Yeah, I'm down to trade. As long as I don't blunder this pawn advantage. Okay, so he's got to watch out. Maybe I'm gonna give my king some lift. I'm gonna move one of these pawns so he has some flight space. Okay, yeah, that's a good move. Or I don't know, good, but I understand his reasoning. So what do I have to be concerned about? If his rook gets on my second rank, then all these pawns are going to be targets, A, B, and C. So I'm going to start trading pawns, I think. If I just advance C3, he can take, and I take, so I'll have two isolated pawns, which could be weaknesses. If I play A3, he could take, I take, and it's the same deal. So I'm going to go for this. It's just my extra pawn right in the C file. That's going to be the target that he wants to hit. Oh, okay. So now I get to keep two pawns. I can even... Oh, here's going to be a connected pass pawn. So is this a strategic mistake? He's going to have his pawns pretty far advanced up the board, but one of these guys... Like, my rook's going to be behind one of these guys eventually. Like, if he plays A4 right now, I'm thinking I might just play B3. If he takes, I takes, then I'm really good. And if he advances, then it'll be... I have the A2, B3, and C4 squares with pawns, and he'll have the b4 and a3 square with pawns. So if like he ever gets down to my second rank and wrecks my a2 pawn, he'll be queening very soon. But then again, I have a connected pass pawn, so all I have to do is try to get behind his pawns. This is like just classic endgame strategy that I'm not so good at. That can't be right, what he just did. Or it can't be optimal, I guess. Like, even if he advances right now, I'm obviously not going to take. I'll let him advance. But right now, since he's not at the open file, I don't need to give my king lift just yet. I can play some other helpful moves. Like, I can play my rook up to d4, attack his weak pawn, and then threats of bringing it behind these guys. I think I got to play actively. I can't just waste time giving my king room when there's no threat right now. So So the idea behind this move is that I'm attacking this pawn. He has no threats of back rank mating me right now. If he takes, I'll take, and then I have... So he's just really letting this happen. I'm planning on playing rook b5. What is wrong with this idea? I mean, even so, I can actually give my king lift now, because that b5 square, I own it. I completely own it. So even if like he goes there preventatively, he doesn't want me to get behind his pawn, I can always just go there. He takes, I take, and I got this pawn, and his king is not going to be inside the square. If you guys know that concept, I know some of you guys are kind of newer chess players too, but like if you have a pawn, and you want to see if the king can trap it, you take where the pawn is, draw a diagonal line down to where he's trying to queen, and that's like the diagonal of a square going to your pawn. So in this square, so if the king can get inside that square, he can stop the pawn. But here, that square goes to e8, and his king would never be able to get inside that square. I would advance and have this square, and I would advance and have this square. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Give my king some Luft, as they say. Then plans of playing b5, win that pawn. Just scoop him right up. What can he do? If he goes, you know what? Oh, whoa. Okay. I was going to say, if he goes to e8, planning to get on my second rank, like assuming he had advanced that a-pawn, I would just move my king f1 and guard that. Okay, so as far as I can see, I'm just going to win this pawn right now. Two connected passed pawns. He's got 3 pawns here. I've got 3 pawns here. It's not like he has the majority. If he brings his rook over to help, well, I mean, my rook's not exactly inactive. Plus, I'm up a pawn. I'm about to be up 2 pawns. But of course, converting these pawn endgames is not so easy for me. I find ways to blunder. So my thing right now, even though I'm in time pressure, like I would really like to win this game, of course. But I think the thing that I'm going to be working on right now is not let the time pressure make me move irresponsibly. Like I still do have 5.5 minutes. I have time to think out my moves. I'm going to try not to move until I know, or until I think I know, obviously, what his best move will be. You know, okay, so my best move right now, I think, is take this pawn. His rook is very inactive. His king is definitely more activated than mine, and I know a lot of people will say, like, king first. Get your king active first. So his king's going to dominate mine. I don't need to take this pawn right now, actually. It's not going anywhere. He can't be defended. I'm going to start activating my king. Not my pawns. I'm going to let him come to me. Or you know what? Maybe I could just trade down. What if I play like g4 right now? If he takes, I take, and I'm happy. Because then my king can go out that way. If I move my king f1, can he like punish that with his rook somehow? No, I don't think so. I'm playing king first. But if I don't keep my king around these pawns, maybe I do want my king to go like straight up. I don't know if I want my king near these passed pawns, like if they need his defense, or if I want to like stop any tricky stuff with these 3 pawns first. I'm going to try trading down. Let's see what he does. If he takes, I'll take, and then I can kind of bring my king up inside these pawns so that it avoids like future rook checks. I'm not bringing my king outside of the pawns, but it'll be like more toward the center, up through. Okay, so he doesn't care so much about that, I guess. So now I just bring my king up. Start activating this guy. I don't know if his king can really do any damage here. Well, now I will take this pawn. If he tries to come at me with like king c5, I have this check, and he's got to get out of there. He can kind of swing around, like try to threaten the backward pawn on b3, But you know, like my rook is always going to be on this file, so it's not like he can just get it. Yeah, so I think check is the best move here. I can start marching my king over to aid them. What do I do with my f pawn? I don't know. Maybe I just bring my king up and try to threaten these guys. His rook still cannot get at my f pawn. Keeping the option to play f4 open, assuming he, assuming he plays g5, tries to keep my king out. What if he swings his rook over to a8, come down and attack this guy? But again, I'm fine to trade. Like if he puts all his energy into that pawn, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to scoop up this pawn. I'm gonna play king g5, then win him. You know, he can defend, but that'll tie his rook down to the 7th rank, and I don't see how he's getting out of that. I want to trade. Oh, okay. So why am I not thinking of like based on objectives? My objective right now is to get the rooks off the board. How do I do that? Probably bring my king close to my rook and and somehow offer the trade where it's like too good to refuse. His king is. I mean, I was saying it was getting pretty active, but it's actually kind of out of. It's like getting too far south, I think. Now I can just bring my king all the way over, like right into the action. His rook can put me in check. But so what I'm thinking is like if his rook gets too occupied, maybe so I'm gonna move my king up actually. I want his rook to go after this pawn because then I can start marching this guy. But wait, let me think. If I move king d5, what's his play? I'm thinking rook e2. What else could he possibly be doing? If he hadn't made this advance, I would have definitely blocked with my rook just then. That's annoying. I could have traded. Do I just drop my king back and play it safe? He has to move his rook back or else I can start advancing. Where's my king best situated? Does he have to babysit this pawn? I'm up 2 pawns. Maybe I play aggressively. I think this is the right move. I'm going to hope he goes for that pawn. And if he does, if he drops his rook down, then I can just play c5. Oh, well, I hope he does this. I hope he just trades my rook. That would be sweet. Let's do it. Oh, is he going to go for some perpetual thing? Because he's not going to get it from me. Oh, he left the game? Are you kidding me? I wanted to test out my endgame stuff. Oh, no, he's back. Cool. All right, so if he goes there again, I'm not going to give him the 3 folds. I'm going to move my king maybe up behind these pawns and scoop them up. I could also go this way to the left. Here he has to move his rook, and I'm gonna start like he's kind of gonna welcome my pawn in as he's gonna come here. My pawn's gonna march up to c5. The king can't protect him, can't get him because my rook is guarding. Then once I play c6, my king is guarding him, and if his rook tries to check me from the bottom, from like d2, I can move my king behind my pawn. C7 or c8 and get him out of the way that way. Okay, so this is just looking good. Is it not? The reason I'm moving to c8 and not c7 is so I have one more advance before my king has to move again. And he can't check me. I'm not sure how he's going to stop this queening business. Like, yeah, so he's trying to check me, but I can always just run behind this pawn. B7, and then how does he? All right, no, B8. Yeah, so if I play, oh no, what am I talking? I wouldn't play that. That would be dumb because then my pawn could be pinned. Like he would pin it with E7, and if he checks me, I'll just play D D7 with my king and threaten his rook, and he has nowhere to go, and he can't check me, and then that's just a queen. So it would be his best. I don't know what his best move would be. He can't play. He can't go too slow. Like he can't go against my. He can't play against my G pawn because I'm only 2 moves away from queening. Move my king once, and queen. Another thing I could have been thinking about this whole time is oh, what? He's gonna give me his rook. So I don't want to. I don't want to play too fast again. His king is something. Okay, I'm gonna start marching my b pawn. His king can't go above my rook, obviously. Uh, if he makes an advance with either of his pawns, I'll win one now, and I'm threatening to check him. Hey, my mom's in my room. Hi, Mom. Maybe I can win a game for her.
Please do.
I'll try. Yeah, I'm living at home now. Living at home until October 1st, then I move to San Francisco. Start doing some software development. I don't know if you guys care. Should I say personal information on this? I don't know. Like I'm talking to nobody. I just got to say something. So I think to finish it off, I take with my rook. He takes with his king, and then I queen my pawn. And that'll do it. It's very appealing to be in those situations where you can. All right, so I'm kind of just worried about stalemating stuff, I guess. So I'll play it safe. I know there are quicker ways to do this, but I'm just gonna go win that pawn. I'll win the pawn, and then I'll think about checkmating him because I don't know. Maybe it's more fun to have 2 queens. Yeah. Okay, he always has the c5 square to run to, so it's not a stalemate. He resigned. Okay, I'll say thanks for the game. And that'll be it. All right, hope you enjoyed this one. Kind of a longer stream, but I couldn't stop after that first one, man. That was too much. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.